Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes and we're here again for another wander round paradise. Last week I asked the question, is there trouble in paradise? And going into this weekend's game, I think that was all on our mind. What would Brendan Rodgers do? How would he line up against Motherwell away at Fir Park? And every single fixture we go into is a must win. All the cliches are coming out, that every game's a cup final. We knew going into that game the Rangers had blown away Hearts at Ibrox 5-0. And it wasn't all about the score. We wanted a good performance as well. And at half-time, I think there was a lot of concern amongst the Acsom team and amongst the wider Celtic community that we certainly were not at the races against Motherwell. We were a goal down. And I think that I was going back to the St Johnstone game at McDiarmid Park where we needed a massive turnaround at half-time and in the second half to win the game. Personnel changes had to be made, but the approach to the game had to completely change as well because we had created nothing in the first half. We were slow, we were ponderous. No one was being brave with the creativity and trying to play that match-winning pass. And of course, once again, we were weak at the back. Yeah, it was a great goal. It was a great goal by Motherwell, but when you look at the strike, the amount of space he's got at the edge of the box is unacceptable. So we had a mountain to climb in the second half. And I'll tell you something, if we do it every single week, we'll win the league. But it wasn't a vintage first half performance. Jekyll and Hyde. Would we do it in the second half? Who would be taken off? It was all on Brendan Rodgers. And it came through in the end as well because we did get the win. And who were the star men in getting that victory? All eyes were on the start 11 after a disappointing game against Kilmarnock. And there were some reintroductions to the team for injured parties, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnston. Carter-Vickers, of course, starting on the bench. And it was great to see his name back in the start 11. Such an imposing defender, such an influential player for Celtic. And so too has Alistair Johnston been since he came in to the club as well. He was sporting a natty face mask because of his injury, which he very quickly discarded because I think it was affecting his vision. But in the first half, you were looking at the changes. Iwata came in, defensive midfielder, and Mike Nawrocki came in for a start as well. And to be fair, I think both of those two players played particularly well. Iwata, I would say, had a marvellous game, first game back for a while after some injury problems, but he is, for me, the perfect player to play behind Matt O'Reilly and Callum McGregor. He was breaking down a lot of attacks. He's strong in a tackle, very composed with his passing, good range of passing as well. And so much so that when he was taken off, there was a few boos around the stadium because Celtic fans were unhappy that he was coming off the park. But at half-time, we had to make a change, and the big change was bold. It was bold by Brendan Rodgers because he's taken off Kyogo, replaced him with Adam Idah. Idah, having scored 2 goals against Hibs from the penalty spot, nerves the steel at Easter Road. He's been in and out of the start 11, but he came on and he made a massive difference, a huge difference. And I think the actual style and the tempo of Celtic's play completely changed in the second half. We've seen balls going in from deeper areas, and it was a deep cross from Greg Taylor that got us back into the game. I mean, how often do we score headers in the box? Chris Sutton said it was a brilliant header, and it was. Adam Idah right back in it at 1 each. And of course, he got the second goal as well. Great move down the right-hand side between Yang and Alistair Johnston with that low cross into the box, met by Idah, and we were 2-1 up at that point, and the whole mood changed. Palma, he comes on and scores a third, and the 3 points were secured. And you've got to give credit for Brendan Rodgers because the changes, Yang made a big impression, Palma scores a goal, Idah scores 2 goals. So the substitutes made a big change to the game, and you would expect some of them to start against Dundee midweek. So we get and we move on to another game against Dundee here at Celtic Park midweek. Every single game, as I said before, has to be won. 3 points has to be brought home. The deficit at the moment, 2 points, and I know that there's been a lot of talk around us throwing away a decent lead after the last Glasgow derby. Brendan Rodgers, of course, is questioned constantly about this lead and about a narrative that's been running in Scottish media over the entirety, I think, of his second tenure at Celtic Park. It got a bit prickly yesterday, and Brendan, of course, is now being criticised for that. I think, obviously, he is getting to the point where he wants to talk about his team and he wants to talk about the football. think Brendan is genuinely frustrated with the way things have been reported. He's very keen to let everybody know that there's no issues behind the scenes. There's no mutiny in the camp, and I think he's taken on a kind of siege mentality. But listen, we're in a title fight, and sometimes that's what happens. And I think games like yesterday, I spoke about this after a Hibs game, it can galvanise you as a team. A new group of players, there's a lot of players in there who came in the summer, and then obviously a couple in the winter transfer window. And this can galvanise them when, it looks as though the chips are down, and it's a test of the character and the mentality. You come through and you win the game. So I think yesterday's result, very, very enjoyable, but also very good for the Celtic squad's state of mind and the morale within that squad as well. And as I say, we go in with a wee bounce in our step. But who starts? Who made the impression? I think bring in CCV, bring him in. If he's fit, he's got to start against Dundee. Who partners him is a big question, because I think that Scales has done remarkably well. 33 games on the bounce for Celtic. But there was a lot of passes going astray. Quite slow when he's carrying the ball out. And I thought Nawrocki done very well. So I'm pretty sure the management team will be looking at the partnership. It wouldn't surprise me if Scales and Carter-Vickers started, but I would like to see Nawrocki coming more into the side for the running. Iwata has got to start, and on the right-hand side, I don't think Kuhn done enough in the minutes that he got, and then Yang came in and made a really positive impression, and he was involved, of course, in creating chances that led to goals as well. So I think Yang starts at the midweek against Dundee as well. And once you start getting that rhythm into the team in a consistent start 11, we then try to reintroduce Rio Hatate when he comes back from injury, and hopefully we will be at full strength by the time we go back to Ibrox for the big Glasgow derby. We're sitting here outside Celtic Park with Jamie Tierney. You might recognise the name. We've been talking about Jamie's wee boy and his journey as well. Jamie, welcome to Celtic State of Mind. It's the second time you've been on the show.
It is, yeah.
And Celtic Park, this is obviously a place that, we were talking last week to a couple of fans. Every time they're back in Scotland, they come to Celtic Park. It's a pilgrimage, the memories and everything else. What's your kind of memories of coming here to watch Celtic?
Oh, just one quite recently, actually, coming to the Champions League games with my dad. And seen a clip of it just yesterday, and it was when we got beat 3-2 off Barcelona.
Oh yeah, man.
And Terry Henry scored that goal at the end, and we were kind of sitting just behind the goals. I think in the same sort of time as well when Dida made his dramatic fall.
Oh,
around when Scott McDonald scored. So,
do you tune into a Celtic State of Mind, the fan that slapped him on the back of the head? If so, let us know, because that was a terrible dive to the goalie, wasn't it? But no, these are great nights at Celtic Park. I think what we've seen in recent times, Jamie, is how Celtic fans can come together as a community to support really, really good causes. And we've been talking about your wee boy's fight. So give us a wee update on what's going on with wee Jamie.
Wee Jamie is he just turned 5, which is pretty mad. He got diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy when he was 3. It was March 2012, I think it was. And since then, we've been travelling all over the world, essentially, trying to find solution to slow this down. So we've been away, we've had 7 treatments, been to Colombia, been to America, and we're now, as you say, an update, we're going to Dubai at the end of April, where we've actually moved clinic, because with our sort of fight, we're always looking, for a better solution, and we found out where we were, things were going good. Jamie's surprising us every day with different things. One thing, for example, he lost the ability to jump, and since getting the treatments, he's jumping, which is maybe minute to any other fathers, but for me to see him do things like that, it's amazing. So he's doing really well. We've moved clinic by researching and pushing, and we really found like we're in a really good positive place at the minute, and just hope we can keep going with it.
Definitely. I mean, what we've been doing, Jamie, as you know, is in the live events field, we've been trying to raise some cash, and the people have been so generous, coming to work together to raise some money for Jamie. And we've done the Sell the Jerseys appeal, and what that's left us with is some amazing items that we're going to auction off come March. So the plan was that we're going to, on a daily basis, do a wee auction every day. And the whole idea behind that is that people are able to get a signed item of Celtic memorabilia and no spend a fortune on it, Jamie, because over the piece, 30 or 31 auctions, bring all that money together and it'll be another tranche of cash that we can transfer over, and hopefully that will help with the cost of the treatment, because it's unbelievably expensive, isn't it?
It is, yeah. When you take into consideration everything, it is. It's really expensive, and we couldn't financially be here if we didn't have the help from everybody. I always said I would go down the route of selling our house, being homeless, everything. Lucky enough we've been able to keep that because we've had amazing support from, especially guys like yourself and Celtic State of Mind, and everybody that's got behind me, Jamie. It's truly amazing. I honestly can't believe it.
No, it's been, for me, one of these stories when you see him up here, he's kicking a ball about with his mum, having just gone in and skinned you in the Celtic Superstore. And it's great to see, as you say, get a wee bounce in his step, and the treatment is definitely helping him. So I've got to thank everybody for getting behind the campaign. And if you want to support wee Jamie in his journey, what we've got the link underneath this video as well. Just got to thank you again, Jamie, for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind.
Thanks for letting me be here.
A Celtic victory and a second half performance can mask quite a few deficiencies, can't it? But there's also ongoing talk around the club and what's happening behind the scenes. There's a few rumours flying around in relation to where we go from here. And I think that obviously the head of recruitment has been discussed. A boardroom reshuffle has been discussed as well. But it's one of these things that, that's more of a medium-term issue that we can discuss day after day on A Celtic State of Mind. We're focusing at the moment on games of football, sometimes 2 games a week that we need to win. And we're basically looking at the performance and who should be starting every single game. Brendan Rodgers seems up for the fight. I think that kind of galvanisation effect of yesterday's result will work really well for the squad as well. And what else has Acsom been up to? Well, obviously wee Jamie Tierney. We've been talking to Jamie and his parents about raising cash for the wee fella, and hopefully we can continue to do that and support Jamie's family as well. One of the big things we do actually is on the live event circuit. When we've got a live gig, we do raise some cash for Jamie there as well. So come along if you wish and see us with Paddy McCourt and also with Martin O'Neill. The ticket links are underneath this video. And if you can't do that, join us again tomorrow at 12:30 for A Celtic State of Mind.